When you ask Austinites about how they feel driving on Mopac, this is usually the answer they give.
I'm stuck in it pretty much every single day.
Transportation officials hope to give drivers some relief with a project called Mopac South. It would add a toll lane to the express lane in each direction from Cesar Chavez Street to Barton Skyway and from Convict Hill Road to Slaughter Lane. The project also includes 2 express lanes with elevated ramps near Barton Skyway.
They still get a benefit because some of the people will choose to be on the toll lanes, and that removes traffic from the lanes that they're in, allowing them for a more reliable commute time.
Staff with the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority will be letting people ask questions and weigh in on what they think about their plan Tuesday.
We understand that it's a very sensitive area of our community.
Officials say they're aware of some concerns from environmental advocates who recently created the Better Mopac Coalition opposing the project. They say the proposed expansion could cause environmental impacts and make traffic worse. The Mobility Authority released an environmental assessment which evaluates traffic noise, water quality, and protected lands.
We don't anticipate any, but we always plan to make sure we're mitigating any of those potential impacts as we do the environmental study.
As for Austinites, they just want a fix to their daily commute.
We need to get to work. It's rough out here.
Charred and lifeless. This is the aftermath of the spring pine fire, which broke out at Bastrop State Park Sunday evening.
Folks from all over the state were coming out and helping us out.
Officials also had 2 helicopters battling the flames.
Taking water out of Lake Bastrop and dumping it on the ground here to help support our firefighters on the ground. It really helped make a dent into the fire.
Park Superintendent Nathaniel Gold says Bastrop State Park undergoes multiple prescribed controlled fires to help prevent outbreaks like this one.
We were able to deploy fire in the right conditions in the safest way possible, whereas whenever we have wildfires, often that happens at the least opportune times, in the worst of conditions, when everything is prone to just light up, and that is what we had here.
When conditions are dry and windy, like this. Wildland Fire and Habitat Management Coordinator Wade Powell,
with the top being green, it's probably good,
says burn bans are important.
Just trying to reduce those hazardous wildland fuels so that events like this don't get out of hand. I mean, it was definitely very scary for a lot of the local residents, but it could have been much larger if some of those actions hadn't taken place before the fire.
Park officials say they've dealt with worse fires and reference back in 2011 when about 96% of Bastrop State Park was devastated by flames. So we asked, what makes this area so vulnerable to wildfires?
This is more like what you see in East Texas when it comes to the habitat, the vegetation community. But we're in Central Texas, so we have Central Texas weather, right? It's a lot hotter, it's a lot drier, and sometimes it can be a lot windier too.
Even at 100% contained, isolated flames like this log will eventually burn out. As Bastrop County sits in an extended burn ban, there will always be a chance this happens again. In Bastrop, Jose Alonso, KVUE News. The conversation of renaming Cesar Chavez Street in Austin continues.
In my case, I respect everybody's opinion. I'm not against, I'm not in favor. We are a business open for everybody.
It's a dilemma for Maria Luisa Mendoza, co-owner of Mr. Natural, which is located on Cesar Chavez Street.
Wait to cross Cesar Chavez at Pleasant.
This surprise of information comes 30 years after his death. It's like, wow. It makes me to reflect on myself and my life.
The late Chicano activist is depicted on the store's outdoor mural. Recently, Chavez has been accused of sexually assaulting women and young girls. Mendoza says she's been contacted about removing his image.
And asking me, what am I going to do with that? I said, well, I don't know. I talked to the muralist and he says, we need to do a fundraising because that is going to cost a lot of $1,000.
Chavez's legacy is represented all over the street, from signage, a statue near Terrazas Branch Austin Public Library, and another mural that shares space with Trovador Custom Hats and Art Gallery.
It's a great mural, don't get me wrong. And like before we knew that, he had done negative things to hurt people, it was a wonderful thing to promote him for all the good he did.
Owner of the shop, Ryan McGrath, says he's on board with changing the mural and renaming the street.
Typically, you just don't want to be associated with supporting any type of negativity. Clearly looking towards our city's leadership.
To rename the street, City Council would either have to come up with a resolution or the community must follow the petition process like they did in 1993.
Let's hear it for Cesar Chavez Street.
Councilwoman Vanessa Fuentes of District 2 says they want the community's feedback.
If we decide to rename this after an individual, who should that individual be? Icons like Dolores Huerta, local icons like Marta Cotera come to mind. And so there are a lot of options here for us to consider. And I think the process in which we go about it has to be one that's intentional and thoughtful.
Hey. Samantha Reimer says she's been in Austin 2 years. She works full-time and has 2 daughters. Reimer says back in November, her daughter got sick, and soon after, so did she. She had to stop working, leading to her and her husband falling months behind on rent.
We don't get paid very much, but we make do. And so with one of us being out of work, nowadays it's a 2-parent household or a 2-income household is necessary.
Now they're facing eviction. Reimer tried to apply for the city's I Belong in Austin rental assistance program a few times, but didn't get accepted.
We're at a loss.
It's a lottery system distributed by the nonprofit group El Buen Samaritano. Depending on eligibility, people can apply and get picked through a draw. However, city leaders say they were forced to alter the program and focus on helping people avoid eviction or just get them through the process.
You're going to pay evictions off, but I want to stay in my home.
Staff at El Buen say that about 2,000 people would apply each month, but only 100 families would get randomly selected. Unfortunately, the city says the money just wasn't there, but there are other options. Dr. Rosa Maria Murillo with El Buen says right now there are 2 programs that are focusing on homeless prevention and anti-displacement. Murillo adding even if you're not facing eviction and are behind on rent, there are resources.
The most important step is to reach out early and call us.
City leaders say they're also looking into putting more money into those prevention programs and working with other local organizations.
We have to be able to use our dollars in the most effective way, and given that we just don't have as much as we used to, we're going to target those resources to the families that need it the most.
Families like Reimers who just want to keep a roof over their head. In Austin, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
Traffic seems relentless around this H-E-B in Buda. A local hotspot, shoppers say the store stays busy.
There's never any parking if you go after 6 o'clock.
The Texas grocery store's planned expansion in this lot across Main Street is the talk of the town. Christy Wood,
all right, perfect.
The owner of downtown businesses
Perfect, thank you.
Posey and KD Premier Home Solutions, says she's excited.
I think that it's a great thing. It brings lots of jobs to the area. There's tons of people moving to the area. So I think it's just it's going to be an asset to us.
H-E-B will be the anchor store at a brand new retail hub set to be built on top of this old landfill. City Manager Micaiah Grau says building on unstable land like this presents a challenge.
What H-E-B is planning to do is to excavate out the portion that's underneath the building and build that up completely stable.
Environmental experts say it's doable and safe as long as laws are followed, but it comes at a hefty price tag, a $20.1 million incentive package from Buda and Hays County agencies.
It is a big number, but I think it's needed. I mean, when you look at what Austin spends.
This is a larger package than you would typically see for a grocery store or a retail store, but that is because of the landfill component of it. So we are viewing this as a community as an environmental mitigation type project.
The city manager says H-E-B is also committing to making traffic improvements along Old San Antonio Road since they will have a back entrance into this street. And that includes widening the road, adding turn lanes, and even making improvements at the intersection of Main Street.
The plan is to build a bigger store. The current store was built in the early 2000s, so as the community's grown, we've outgrown that store.
And the lines are long, and I think that having a bigger H-E-B, they'll offer more items as well.
This lot, full of mesquite and some loose trash, will be transformed as the Texas grocer tries to keep up with the city's population growth. In Buda, Jose Alonso, KVUE News.